Hello YouTube. Today I wanted to do a review of the Zoom Kobe 6 basketball shoe. Uh, this is it right here. I've had this shoe for about 3 or 4 months now, and I've worn it many hours. I've played many games in it, so I can tell you about it. Let's start with the bottom and work our way up. First off, Kobe wanted to emphasize the theme phenomenon, uh, going off of the Black Mamba that he calls himself. Traditionally, it would have a herringbone pattern, but this is sort of like a snake scale to just go with the theme. It doesn't grip as good as a traditional herringbone pattern, but it's still pretty good. Not the best, but pretty good. Uh, it has a zoom, it's low profile zoom unit here in the heel. It's a full size one. And then here in the forefoot, instead of having it go all the way across, it just has it and where the ball of your foot would be. So cushioning in the heel is pretty good, and up in the forefoot, it's not as well. You can see there's like a different little section here in the heel, and I believe that the phylon is a different consistency or thickness, maybe density in the heel. It does feel different compared to the phylon and the rest of the foot. The heel has a lot of cushioning, but the forefoot is just okay. I would say that the heel uh, probably has about a, I would give it a 9 on cushioning. It's pretty solid as far as how well it supports your heel. But the forefoot, it's made to be low profile and quick, so it's they sacrificed a little bit in the forefoot, but it's still okay. Moving to this midfoot shank, um, it's about an average size. It's not big or small. It does provide really good arch support. It is anatomical, which means it's right left specific. It's not just a square. It does have a medial side, and it's flat on the bottom, but it does give good support. Moving on to the upper, starting with the back, it has this heel cup. It's a little bit different than a traditional heel cup. The sides are cut out, and this is the same material as this up here on the collar, which is it's like a smooth leather, maybe a synthetic. Uh, the heel cup is plastic, but a lot of people I've heard don't exactly like the heel cup, but I like it. I've worn many Nike and Jordan basketball shoes, and I think that the heel cup does a great job of like holding the heel in place. I didn't have any complaints with it. Um, the collar also helps to hold your heel in place. It's really cushioned if you look. You know, it's really soft, and it also in the heel it kind of dips down and then swoops back a little bit. So when you get your heel down in it, it really does hold it in place. Um, the lockdown in the heel is really good. Moving on to the tongue. The tongue is it's cushioned like the sides are, and if you look inside, you'll see that it is all one piece. You can see where the tongue connects down to the rest of the shoe, and it goes back in there. So it does have an inner sleeve, and it makes it very plush and smooth, and it's very comfortable on the foot. Also, while we're on the topic, if you can see the light shining through, the tongue has a honeycomb pattern. If you can see that, um, it breathes very well. The tongue does. Also, it's not flimsy. If you've handled a hyperfused tongue, they tend to be flimsy. This one has the same material as this back does, so it's like a leather or synthetic. So, and it's relatively not thin. It's not saying it's cumbersome, but it gives good support, and it's comfortable. Uh, so I really do like the how it handles the ankle in this shoe. Moving on to the actual upper, if you can see these lines right here, this is a flywire upper. If you, I mean, I'm sure most of you probably already knew that if you're here looking at the review, but I'm gonna tell it to you anyways. The upper is perforated. If you can see inside of there, I really doubt you can, but the sides are perforated. They have dots running down the side on various places on the shoe. But most of your breathability is going to come from this honeycomb tongue. But the sides of the upper do help a little bit. There's different kinds of flywire skins. If you can remember the original Hyperdunk, and then the Hyperdunk 2010s were kind of a smooth, thin skin, and then the Zoom Kobe 5s were kind of like a floppy kind of gel paper. It's hard to explain, but these seem similar. This skin seems a lot like the skin you would see on a Hyperdunk 2011. If you'll listen, it has a texture to it, almost as if it's like woven with tiny fibers. So the durability on this shoe is terrific. It hasn't, it doesn't even have creases on it yet, which I'm about to get to that, which is partly because of these polyurethane scales on it. They actually do serve a function. They're not just for looks. Just to get into the analogy, if you can imagine when you hurt your arm and you wrap it with gauze, and you have to take a clip and stretch it across 2 points to hold it in place, each one of these polyurethane scales acts like that clip, and the skin being the gauze, and it stretches it and it gives it almost like a tensile strength throughout, so it holds itself together really well, and it has really good stability, really good lockdown, and it keeps it shaped. Like if you look, I can bend it and then bend it back, and it has no creases on the shoe. There's no, I mean, there's, wrinkles where it's been worn, but there's no creases where there's actually like little dimples inside of it. It doesn't crease. The shoe doesn't crease, which is a plus. I mean, it keeps it from looking nice. Also, they say that it protects your feet, from when you get stepped on. I've never really had a problem with getting stepped on in a basketball shoe and being, complaining about it. So, I mean, I guess if you're picky about your toes, it'll help with your toes, but it provides a really stable upper. You're gonna like it. It's probably one of the best lockdown shoes. Even if I'm comparing it to other high tops, the lockdown is great. I mean, it has going into other detail, it has the Kobe symbol right here, and it also has this signature on the heel. There's a lot of little things that go into, I think, the design. In fact, there's 6 little dots up here on this heel cup, if you can see the reflection of it. And I think it's 6 just because this is the Kobe 6. But into my ratings of it, starting from the bottom, the traction, probably not as good as if it was a traditional herringbone pattern, but it still is pretty solid. I would give it an 8 or an 8.5. It's pretty good. Cushioning, and the heel, it's very good. I wouldn't want any more cushioning. It's very good in the heel. I think it's a separate, different Phylon material. But in the heel, it's probably about a 9. It's pretty solid, pretty good. And in the forefoot, however, it's probably like a 6.5 or 7. Not as good. Midfoot support, really good. I would give it a 9. The cup, the whole ankle package, as far as you're talking about keeping your ankle in place and ankle comfort, I would dare to say it's a 10 because it does the job very well. It has a cushioned collar. It's very good tongue. The cup does a great job. Overall, this whole package here in the heel and the ankle is very well thought out. Stability, the shoe it's really good at actually any kind of protection as far as stability and lockdown. Forgot to mention, it does have this outrigger that keeps you from like rolling your ankle and lateral movements from left to right. By the way, a lot of people wonder this. They ask it. So it is true to size. This shoe, get your shoe size in it. I got mine and it fits perfectly. So true to size. get your shoe size. No reason to go up or down. The upper, the lockdown, if I was gonna say give it a rating, the lockdown on it has got to be 9 at least. It's great. I mean, the whole package, the way this shoe was made, was very smart. Way to put in aesthetics and give it function. Breathability, it's not going to compare to like a Hyperfuse, but it's still okay. It's like I would give it if a Hyperfuse was a 10, this would be like a 7.5 or an 8. So it's still pretty good. Overall, it's a great shoe. I bought it for practice, and it hasn't let me down. So if you're looking for just a pickup shoe, they've been out long enough now that if you search around on the internet, you can find them, discounted. So it's a good shoe, good pickup. Get it if you can. I recommend it. It's a good basketball shoe. Anyways, that's my review on the Zoom Kobe 6. Rate, comment, and subscribe.